Good morning, everyone. Chapter 2 of my book takes me deeper into the unknown. What do I mean by that? Well, in Chapter 2, I learned what's happened. I learned that Leah was in a car accident and that she was in surgery when we arrived at the hospital. I now knew what had happened, but I didn't know what we were going to face when she came out of surgery. I didn't know any of those things. And I wanted to know, I wanted to control it. At the time that Leah died, I was a control freak. I thought that if I could get every single little element of my life in place, that I could avoid ever having to have a confrontation or ever having to go into an uncomfortable situation. And if any of you are recovering control freaks like I am, you know that that's a crazy making situation. At the time, I was a project manager for a contracting company managing large jobs. And that's what I tried to do. In some ways, I had to do that. I had to try to make sure that all the details were lined up so that things could progress on schedule and within budget. My daughter's death showed me that we are never in control, that we are always living in the unknown. And at the time, 21 years ago, I didn't want to know that. I didn't want to be thrust into the big unknown. Over the course of the last 20 plus years, I've learned how to get better at living in the unknown. Living in the unknown opens us up to the possibilities, the vast possibilities of everything there is out there for us to experience. By living in the unknown, I don't mean that you just sit there and do nothing and allow everything to happen around you. When you're living in the unknown, and getting better at living in the unknown, at least from my experience, I can enter the unknown through the present moment. And when I get my information from the present moment, I know exactly what to do. And I'm not trying to craft an outcome out of things that aren't going to happen. I wanted desperately to change the outcome 21 years ago in that hospital. I wanted desperately to walk out of the hospital with Leah. And as I said in my blog, trying to figure out if we wanted pizza or tacos for dinner. And that wasn't going to happen. I had to come to that realization. I had to be with that, and I didn't want to be there. It was like living in a country that I didn't know the language or the customs, and I had to survive. Well, I chose to not only survive, I chose to thrive. And part of the way I do that is by being comfortable living in the unknown. Because even though we think we control everything, we're always living in the unknown. And when we can be here without attachment to what it looks like, and be present so that all of our information comes from this moment here, we are open to all of the possibilities that are presented to us. Yesterday was the 21st anniversary of Leah's death, and it was a really difficult one for me and for Dan. And I'm not quite sure why, and it doesn't matter. That's a part of living in the unknown, not being attached to knowing why, to just being with what's here. And there's some kind of special gift that I'm doing this project now, starting it during this time of Leah's accident and death. Because it's showing me that through the passage of time, I am a different person. And yet I can still go back and touch those really deep, painful feelings of grief that arise every year at this time. And so what I'm here to tell you is that grief does not end. And by being with what's here now and allowing myself to feel all of the feelings that I'm feeling, exactly as they're showing up this year, because they're different every year, I can gain additional insights. And those insights help me to move through my grief. And they also help me to better serve my clients. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you again next time.